you are going to need to shut them down so that you will feel better. I know that sounds really cynical, but if you watch people who don't want you to talk about your pain after a fairly short period of time, have you noticed just a taste of hostility there? Just a little bit that you're doing something wrong, that there's something here that's not okay in some kind of way. That, I think, is the power of suppressed material. So what we have is a culture that is keeping all of us from processing at the level we need to. Probably avoidance is the best way to sustain pain. So just on the face of it, we probably should avoid avoidance. But we can't totally avoid it. Would it be a good idea to avoid all avoidance? I believe that we're all in avoidance right now. I think that we have a big old sphincter. Maybe that's not the right word. We have a valve that's determining how much painful material we can experience at any moment, and we suppress some of it. Couldn't you be thinking about something bad in your life right now? A relationship problem you're having, your taxes, your partner's being mean to you today, you're being mean to your partner. I mean, there's all sorts of things you could think about. But what we do is we exclude some of that so that we can take care of here and now business. So not having any ability to avoid would probably be a bad idea. But the problem is when we avoid more than a certain amount, then the chickens come home to roost, an expression I've never fully understood. So what that means is we have to optimally avoid. A lot of my brethren wouldn't say that, but as a great avoider, I would say that. You need to optimally avoid. Avoid enough that you can maintain homeostasis, but not so much that you block processing, that you're driving painful feelings underground. So macho insistence that it's only a flesh wound, messages we get from each other that we shouldn't suffer more than 3 weeks, all the different kinds of things we have, like the action heroes who get shot 3 times in the chest and then run a 4-mile race to save the world. You know, all this message that you could just sort of put this stuff behind you and get over it isn't actually a very accurate rendition of what our experience is. The flip side of the pain paradox, therefore, is this: that non-judgmental acceptance of pain decreases suffering and increases awareness. So they're the same thing, but they sound a little different. The first one says, don't feel. And the second one says, if you do feel, you'll be in worse shape. But in fact, there's a whole bunch of research out there that indicates that the more that we can engage our distress at the time it happens or soon thereafter, or every time that it comes up again, the more quickly we're going to be able to, quote, get over what's going on. This is a little more radical than it might sound. This means that if this evening you get into a little bit of fight with your partner or your friend, that maybe you don't keep fighting with that person because you may be stuck in some kind of weird pattern. But the part of you that just wants to go watch TV or have a Chardonnay or ignore it or just forget about it and not think about it may not be the most helpful part of you. That it may be that whenever possible, to the extent possible, if you're feeling painful states, you should probably allow yourself to feel those painful states. All of us on a regular basis. So this is a little more radical than it sounds. In the Pain Paradox, this book that I'm trying to write, I'm really suggesting that this means that we have to, if we want to be more successful as a culture, we have to accept the reality of pain, allow people to suffer as long as is necessary, and that we need to give ourselves permission to be whatever we are. I mean, most people in this room are therapists.